undercover officer.
I agree.
There's a couple of other things we need to talk about and you need to think about when you're in a pursuit. First, your weapon, in or out of the holster. This is another one of those things that is not absolute. Having your weapon out and ready might be appropriate. Some trainers say that the fastest draw is to have the gun already in your hand. That might work in some situations, such as if it's not a very fast foot chase, basically you're jogging behind the suspect, or if the suspect is obviously armed with a gun and he's running from you. But consider that the chances for a negligent or unintentional discharge go way up, especially with stress, uneven footing, and fatigue. Remember, if you're running in plain clothes with your gun out, that can easily be a recipe for disaster. So I'm not saying it's an absolute, but again, consider the tactical balance between safety and apprehension. Something else to consider is when to terminate a foot pursuit and switch to other options, like setting up a perimeter, dogs, or air support. If you form the belief that the danger to yourself or the danger to the public outweighs the need to apprehend the suspect, stop. If you lose your weapon, stop. Set up a perimeter and ask for air support, canines, etc. If you lose track of where you are, if you lose communications, not knowing your location or not being able to broadcast your location throws the tactical advantage over to the suspect, who may be running in a neighborhood where he or she grew up. Same thing. Stop, find a landmark, and call for support. Or, if ordered to stop by a supervisor. Okay, let's let the supervisors off the hook here. I'm sure I wouldn't like my sergeant canceling me on my foot chase. But understand that the decision would be based on the same consideration we've been talking about all along. If the supervisor believes that the danger to pursuing officers or the danger to the public outweighs the necessity for immediate apprehension of the suspect. And let's be honest, while we're in the middle of a foot pursuit, we may not have as objective as a view of the situation as a supervisor who's making a calm, detached decision that is ultimately for your own safety. And while we're on the subject of supervisors, let's go over a few things that they ought to do in order to make sure that everyone comes out of this as safely as possible. Take an active role and start toward the area of the foot pursuit. There might be a perimeter to coordinate or a canine to request. Remember, by the new canine procedures, a supervisor may be required for a canine call-out. The pursuing officer has his or her hands full with running, scanning, tactical decisions, calling out the foot pursuit, etc. Help them out by directing resources into the area. Remember to keep the air clear as much as possible for the pursuing officer to call out the foot pursuit. Yes, I'm going to say it again. If the risk outweighs the need, don't be shy about terminating the foot pursuit. We may not like it, but we'll understand. As a final thought, remember that a foot pursuit is not like a vehicle pursuit. There's nothing that says you can't chase someone who's only wanted for a property crime, for example, or that if a foot pursuit is terminated, that's it, it's over. If conditions change and a tactical advantage swings back to our side, the suspect can be re-engaged as long as it can be done safely. We don't abandon our efforts or our duty to apprehend the suspect. So, Dan, do you think we've covered it?
I think so. I guess all I'd like to add is nobody is telling you not to be involved in foot chases. All we're saying is if you are involved in a foot chase, do it safely.